Hello and welcome back. This is going to be not really a flip through, more of a review than a flip through, because I'm certain that this deck must have a proper flip through on TarotTube, although to be perfectly honest, I didn't check. All right. So here we are. This I have a lot to say about this. First of all, I want to thank my friend who sent this to me. I didn't ask permission to mention her name. So I'd like to thank my friend who sent this to me as a gift. And this is Robert M. Place's A Gnostic Book of Saints. That goes with the Tarot of the Saints. Now, when I first started watching TarotTube, I had completely missed that there was such a thing as Tarot of the Saints. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like just heartbroken that I missed out on it when it was in print. Because, you know, it's, those of you who know, who have been searching for this, know that people list them. That doesn't mean they go for that much. So this is going to be a little bit about everything. A little discernment here. Stop. Just because somebody lists this set on, let's say, Amazon at $800, because that was what it was the last time I checked last year, doesn't mean that it's worth $800. Okay? They're just hoping that someone's going to come across and have $800 burning a hole in their pockets, and that they're going to make like their big payday. All right? So let's talk a little bit, before I get into Tarot of the Saints, let's talk a little bit about out-of-print decks, highly sought-after decks, and the craziness when we feel like we need to have it, and how we could fall prey to a crazy market. And let me preface this by saying that if you're watching me, if you've been watching me for a little bit, you know that I had the deck buying binge of 2018, the depth year of 2019, and then the insanity of 2020. However, so I'm at a place, never mind, however, I'm at a place right now where I have streamlined my collection. I'm going to call it collection because that's the parlance of these kind of videos. But I've streamlined what I own. I only kept what I actually use and that I've built a relationship with. When I talk to you about this deck today, it's not to be inflammatory, but I might be inflammatory, because if you're one of those people out there that you went and you searched and you found all the vintage decks, and now you're selling, now you're not selling, you're listing them at outrageous prices, that is your prerogative. So I don't want to see comments in this section saying, "Oh my God, you're throwing shade on me. You're saying that I'm doing bad things." No, I don't care. Everyone is entitled to do with their own shit what they want to do. If you want to list your decks that you're selling at $1,000 a deck, go to it. That's your prerogative. Every seller is allowed to set their price, and every buyer is allowed to set what they're willing to pay for something. So that's the lesson, and that's the gist of today's video. Again, I was fortunate. I received this as a gift, and thank you very much to you who sent it to me. I really appreciate it. Let me put this in perspective a little bit, just so that you understand why I'm the way I am about things. When this deck was released by Llewellyn, and hang on, let me check the date, because it wasn't that long ago, which means that not many were 2001, okay? All right, to me, it's not that long ago. Maybe to you, if you're like 30 years old, it's like, whoa, right? You were in grade school. This was released in 2001, and it retailed for $14.95 US. Let that sink in. $14.95 US, $22.95 Canadian. Book and cards. Cards is standard cardstock, you know, like plastic coated, like beautiful cardstock. Here, let me do it next to the mic so you can hear it. Beautiful cardstock that shuffles beautifully. Okay, look. I won't be able to show you, but you'll be able to hear. Oh. Well, I was able to show you. Hang on, let's do it again. $15.95 US, $22.95 Canadian. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind if this is a deck that you're looking for. Okay, when you look at the listings on eBay, if it's still out there, or Amazon, or wherever it is that you go, or in those Facebook groups. Can I tell you again? $15.95 US, $22.95 Canadian. That's what this retailed for. First of all, look at the quality of this. Okay, you probably cannot see the quality, but you definitely can hear it. Those of you who know that this is a good sound. This is US Games cardstock, even though that this was released by Llewellyn. Okay. Chunky guidebook. Robert M. Place. Not as big as a lot of his tomes, but you know. And the book is titled A Gnostic Book of Saints. So it's not a Catholic book of saints. It's not the Catholic Saints Tarot. But it's pretty damn close. All right. Here's what you need to know about this deck. I'm not going to do a full flip through. Like I said, first of all, lighting, I still haven't figured out lighting. All right. It's a miracle I'm actually posting a video. So, by my standards. Anyway. But I'll show you what some of the cards look like. So Eight of Staffs. So here you have, some of them are like outright pippish, as is the parlance of Tarot Tube. So outright pippish for this one, and then some of them are illustrated. So the minor arcana is not consistent. Then you have the majors. The majors are saints, the court cards are saints. The art style, well, it's a question of taste, right? The art style is very in keeping with Robert M. Place's decks. So I'm just going to show you a couple more, right? Here's the 10 of Cups. 8 of Coins. These are just at random. Then you have the 6 of Coins, which looks like this. Queen of Swords, Joan of Arc. You may or may not agree with this. Me, I don't agree with it, but whatever. It is what it is, because it's not like I could change anything, right? All right. When I first received this deck, I have to tell you, it was quite off-putting. I find the color palette quite off-putting. I find it quite stark and bare. I find it quite sterile. Interesting, right? But I also find, by virtue of seeing other Robert M. Place's decks, I do find them sterile as well. As a matter of fact, this one I found it quite cold. Really cold. Look at this. This card's beautiful. This is St. Mary the Moon. All right. And then you have 7 of Swords. So this deck is a little. So if you're fantasizing about this deck and you haven't really seen all the cards, let me tell you, they're not all saints. And you may, depending on what your belief is. If you're watching me, you're probably a practitioner of Italian folk magic or some other folk magic that has Christian roots, specifically Catholic roots. And this is Mary Magdalene, the Papes, or the papes. Sorry, my nickname when I was a little kid was papes because it alluded to papes, but it's a story for another time. Four of Cups. All right, so you get the gist. So this, I hope you could see a little bit what I'm trying to say. This deck is a little, of course, if you're watching this and you are triggered by Catholic imagery, Christian imagery, I probably should have said something at the start of this video, but come on, the title of the video is Tarot of the Saints. So if you clicked on it and now you're upset because you're feeling triggered, I apologize, but seriously, man, it's in the title. All right. Working with this deck, I think I looked up a couple of minors in the book, and I gotta say, the guidebook is basically, if you own the Pictorial Key to the Tarot by A.E. Waite, yeah. There's not much added for the minors. Okay, sometimes there's a description. Like for the Four of Coins, Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss and receives 30 pieces of silver as his reward. The Four of the Earth suit is too heavily grounded. There are only coins in the sky, no hosts. This card represents selfishness, greed, and betrayal. Four of Pentacles. I read Four of Pentacles, and I have a series on the experiential meaning of the tarot. I have not even touched the minors yet. I'm still working on the majors. But the Four of Pentacles, to me, is not solely selfishness, greed, and betrayal. It's not, as a matter of fact, it's neither one of those things. I read the Four of Pentacles as the beginning of financial stability, that first firm footing that you feel, that sense of accomplishment, that you're not bleeding money anymore, or you're not, you're able to cover your bases. Four, right? A table, 4 legs, we're stable. So there's that. If you're a collector and you're wanting to have this because you've collected all of Robert M. Place's decks, and this is missing in your collection, and you're a completionist, okay? But if you're a reader like me, this deck is... Let me say, the voice of this deck can be, at best, cold, and at worst, downright mean, and somewhere in between, it could be very discouraging. It's I don't like to use words like positive and negative, because that always like harkens back to stuff like New Age, and I don't like. But I have to say that it's discouraging. This deck, a reading from this deck could be quite discouraging. And if you've experienced anything differently, I think you need to take those rose-colored glasses off, because if you know anything about the saints that are depicted, already it grates. Some of these saints that are chosen for the cards, I'm trying to find one, but like Saint Paul, King of Swords. You know what I'm saying? If you know your saints and you know your tarot, this is a difficult deck to... Here, Saint Martin, Squire of Swords. I'm guessing this is Saint Martin Caballero, but where's the horse? Just one. Anyway. Saint Barbara, the Tower. I don't know who this deck is for, is what my review of this deck is basically going to be about. I don't know who it's for. It's certainly not for Catholics. The title of the guidebook says Gnostic Book of Saints. I don't even feel it falls into precisely Gnosticism either. Dare I say it? I feel like this deck is novelty deck. Oops, sorry. Saint Francis, the Fool. Saint Jude, King of Coins. Some random dude shackled to a concrete block during biblical times for the Eight of Swords. Okay, maybe it's a stone. Maybe it's a carved stone. So, now, that's not to say I have... Oh, Saint Benedict for temperance? Saint Nicholas, the magician? I'm sorry, but... And doesn't specify which saint, because there's multiple saints by the same name. Saint George, Knight of Swords, almost. And I give this one. I'm just gonna give it a pass. Saint Clare, Queen of Cups. Okay. Some obscure saints. Saint Blandina for the Hangman. This Four of Coins still bugs me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm glad I had the opportunity to try it. I may or may not hang on to it. I may pass it on to someone who wants to give it a whirl. I haven't decided yet. For now, it's going to live in my... it lives with my other saints things. With my saint kit in a box. I have a box I call the Sacred and the Profane, where I keep saint magic supplies and cards and stuff like that. But I think what I'm trying to say is I'm going to start featuring, or not featuring, but I want to start talking about some decks that I kept. And even some that I didn't, that are overly hyped and out of reach because only so many were printed, or they're out of print, or they're vintage. And why it's all a fucking illusion. That you don't need any of these decks. Like I said, I'm grateful. I received this as a gift. My friend who sent it to me wanted to know what I thought. So here it is. This is what I think of it. But it's all a fucking illusion. Okay? There is nothing you don't have that you don't need. If you have a deck of playing cards, if you want to learn how to play cards, or read cards, excuse me, but play, right? If you want to learn how to read cards, you literally could go to the dollar store and pick up a deck of playing cards and start reading and connect to spirit and connect to you can connect to spirit, to your guides, to your ancestors, to your saints. You could do all that with a fucking 50-cent deck of cards. All right? You can, there's nothing you need. All right? And I will be featuring the decks I kept. Some of them, are, okay, I lie. I don't have a lot of, crazy sought after decks. Okay. And in terms of what I kept of indie decks, not many. That's a whole other conversation. But I'm trying to say is that if you feel that burning desire to connect to spirit, to read cards, to foretell the future, to foresee the future, to divine, to learn about yourself, to explore your feelings, you don't need whatever people are raving about. You need whatever you can access. And I am the daughter of immigrants. I am descendant from immigrants. I am descendant from artisans and peasants. And we were all, me in the present tense, sorry. They were all, I still am, are all readers. And we read the signs in whatever. I don't want anyone watching me feeling like they need to have something. I gotta tell you this. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's like if everyone's talking about how great it is. Well, at least the videos I saw were talking about how great it is. And I have to tell you, I'm very underwhelmed. And I'm not impressed at all. But that's my personal opinion. But I can use this to obtain a message from a saint. I could print up a picture, because I'm a visual person. I could print up a picture from the internet of the saint I'm wanting to work with, and then draw these cards for a message from that saint. I'm not going to get that from this, okay? Because most of the saints in this deck I don't even work with. I don't have a relationship with. All right. I just have to get that off my chest, people. Because me too, I got caught up. And now I have to have that because, oh my God, it's like I'm a saint magic practitioner. How do I not have this deck? And I didn't even this just landed in my lap. Like I didn't even seek it out or anything like that. It was more of an experience of, oh, it's out of print. All right, whatever. There's another deck that's out of print. Just recently went out of print. I don't know what Los Carabeo was thinking. Voices of Saints, I guess it wasn't a big seller. That one is out of print. Do you need it? No. Absolutely not. If you're a visual person and you need the image of the saint that you're developing a relationship with, I gotta tell you, I've never used those 78 cards of saints as an oracle to shuffle and then see which saint had a message for me. I did when I first got it, see which saint wanted to develop a relationship with me. And yeah, they were, of course, because that's the case with cards and any kind of divination. Of course, it's the saints I already had a relationship with that fell out of the deck. Like those were the cards that were the jumpers, right? Or whatever. It was the stalker cards, whatever it is that we call those cards that we get all the time, right? You want to read tarot? You want to connect to your saints? You don't need an out-of-print deck. You need an earnest desire to connect to that saint. And if cards is your medium that you like to communicate with the spirit world, then any cards will do. Playing cards and ubiquitous mass market tarot deck will do. All right. That's it for me. And I look forward to seeing you later I look forward to speaking with you later in our live video on tools, whether or not you need them. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.